No, that's not my problem, Kyle. I'm not doing it. I know you don't want it in your search history. I mean, if Swagrich finds it, yeah, he's going to make fun of you, of course. I mean, did you ask Dr. Ethan? He laughed at you. I love that guy. Oh, okay, fine. Let me Google it. Hang on. Okay. Viagra. Yeah, we've heard of this one. Too expensive. Look, if you're going to be cheap, then you'll never be the tight end whisperer in real life. I mean, you know what I mean? Come on, don't be cheap. Levitra? Hang on. I don't know. Maybe. That's the commercial with that old dude that's like looking excited in a bathtub, isn't it? I don't know either. What about Cialis? I think that's like the cheaper version of Viagra, right? Strenda? What the hell is that? I've never even heard of it. Dude, come on. How do you want me to compare pills that'll give you straight chub, Kyle? I mean, this is... Kyle, do your own research, Kyle. I can't do this. I got videos to record. No, I can't. I'm done. Fortunately, talking about running back rankings is way more fun than talking about rankings to help Kyle with his little problem. We're talking 2020 fantasy football running back rankings right now. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Today we're talking about some running backs. That's right, the top 25 running backs for 2020 fantasy football. These will be our last rankings videos that come out before the start of the season. Some people still out there doing their drafts or looking to make some early season trades to really set themselves up for a great 2020 fantasy football season. So, similar to what I did for the quarterback video, we're going to do for running backs, right? I have my top 25, Kyle's top 25, and the current consensus top 25. So you guys can see where we differ here just a little bit, and you're not just seeing one opinion. However, I will walk through my top 25 and give you the reason why I have them where I do. We're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right into the rankings here right now. All right, we'll start right here at the top. It's no surprise, right? Christian McCaffrey going to be number one for me going in here to the 2020 season. I really don't have a reason to move him down, right? Yeah, sure, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. Still a lot of volume going the way of Christian McCaffrey, and he can beat you on the ground and through the air. Really have no reason to move him down. However, at number 2, Saquon Barkley, a lot of people want to make the argument that he could be number 1 this year. And I really can't put together an argument against it. The guy could go out there and get some huge touches in a Jason Garrett offense. He could easily approach 300 to 350 total touches here in 2020. And that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for these guys that get that heavy volume because that's the way you score fantasy points. You have to have guys that touch the ball. Saquon Barkley is going to touch it a lot here this year. Number 3, Zeke Elliott. About as consistent as you can get, right? What we really need to see from him is some more touchdowns on the ground. Well, now they have an opened up, air style offense with Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott. There's not going to be a whole lot of defenders left in the box if they have to deal with all these guys on the outside. It could only help open things up for one Ezekiel Elliott, and if he can be involved in the passing game at all, he may be one of the safest options right here at the beginning of your drafts. Number 4, another guy with huge volume. It's Derrick Henry. And yes, I hate that he lost Jack Conklin there on the offensive line. That's a big loss. However, a lot of people love A.J. Brown. They love Ryan Tannehill. They love Jonnu Smith, myself included. I think these guys can put together a solid passing game there in Tennessee. Is it going to be elite? No, probably not, but it hasn't been for years. And we've seen what Derrick Henry can do with the volume. The touchdown upside will be there every single week, and you know he's going to be the main focal point of that offense. Once again, that's what we're looking for. We got Derrick Henry at number 4. Number 5 is my boy Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns, and a lot of people still want to bring up, what about Kareem Hunt? Yeah, Kareem Hunt is going to be involved in this offense, 100%. But as much as they're going to run in Cleveland this year, behind arguably one of the better offensive lines in football, Nick Chubb can still eat. Do you really think that they have a 1,700-yard guy that they're just going to ignore here in 2020? No. Probably not. Both these guys are going to be involved. Kareem Hunt could actually see a lot more time in the slot at times in this offense. Sure, there's going to be series where he's out there. He's going to score some touchdowns, but Nick Chubb, he's going to be the guy getting the bulk of the early down carries and the goal line work. Love me some Nick Chubb. Still got him right here. Number 5. Number 6, Josh Jacobs, somebody who we've been talking about for months now. Ever since we left the combine in Indianapolis, Josh Jacobs is going to be more involved in this passing game than he was last year, and he proved last year that he could produce on the ground. You add in that receiving part to his game, he's going to skyrocket up the rankings here in 2020. I love him. I got him right here, number 6. Number 7, Joe Mixon. Now, I put the little, medical symbol next to his name, but it seems like his migraines have disappeared ever since he got paid. That's kind of a coincidence, right? But no, he does have a new contract. He is going to be in Cincinnati there for a while, and because of it, I had to bump him up in the rankings a little bit. There was always that, slight concern. Is he really dealing with any type of injuries? Is he really going to hold out? Now that we know that he's going to be good to go, the volume's going to be there, and Joe Burrow in an offense with possibly a healthy A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. I mean, they have weapons here in Cincinnati, and if they can pull those defenders outside the box, Joe Mixon is an elite running back when given the opportunities. I like him, got up number 7. Number 8, Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints. Now, I've dropped him quite a few spots. I think I had him as high as 3 here this offseason, now down at 8. The part that really worries me the most is not so much the contract negotiations, it's the fact that he just got an epidural in his back. That's not what you want to hear for a running back about to start an NFL season. That kind of raises a few red flags for me. And to me, that's what I'm paying more attention to than the contract part of it. Sure, all the rumors came out about, hey, they're open to trade it. Let me break this down for you as simple as I can. Every player in the NFL, with the exception of maybe like a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson, are on the trading block. Like, everybody is almost available for the right price, right? It's kind of like fantasy football. It's a business, and for the right price, almost everybody has that price. So that part doesn't worry me too much. I think that they've kind of, buried the hatchet a little bit. They'll be good to go here for this year, but it's the injury concerns that we really need to pay attention to. So I got him dropped down a few spots right here at number 8. Number 9, Kenyan Drake. A lot of people worried because he's been in a walking boot here the past week or so. Don't worry, he does this almost every year. He calls it precautionary. Now, whether that's the case or not, at least we have some, historical facts proving that he's done this in the past before without having any major injuries. He's going to be heavily involved in this offense, and we've broken it down a lot here this offseason. The running back 1 of the Arizona Cardinals has the ability to put up huge numbers. It's almost a plug-and-play system, and right now with Kenyan Drake on top of that depth chart, he's going to have first crack at going out there and putting up some huge numbers. Got him at number 9. Number 10, Austin Eckler. A lot of people still don't love Austin Eckler. They want to point to the fact that he's not a workhorse back. He's not. Agreed. But what he is super efficient, and he's always had to share a backfield, right? It's never really always been his job. He's always had a Melvin Gordon or a Justin Jackson or somebody there to take away early down carries, and that's okay. That's what we want. If we don't have that early down guy there every once in a while, Austin Eckler may break down mid-season. We still need a guy to go out there and take some of that early down work, so Austin Eckler stays 100%, super efficient, and he's a guy that can make a big play happen in a heartbeat. I love Austin Eckler, and if people are going to, ignore him on draft day, I will gladly scoop him up there in the second round. Got him at running back 10. Number 11, Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings. Now, I don't dislike Dalvin Cook at all, really. I mean, we were one of the biggest Cook hypers there were in 2019, but now in 2020, just a few questions, and more than anything, there's a lot of great options. It's not so much that I dislike Cook, it's that I like some other guys just a little bit more. Yes, Dalvin Cook has that chance on a yearly basis of suffering from an injury, but it's the running back position. A lot of people have those same chances at that same position. There's a change in offensive coordinator. There's still going to be a run-heavy team. There's no Stephon Diggs. Does Justin Jefferson take a step forward? Do they try to focus a little bit more on the passing game? I mean, there's just questions surrounding Dalvin Cook. I have no issues with taking him in my draft. Hopefully, possibly, you can get him at the beginning of the second round. Most times, though, he's going right there towards the tail end of the first. If you do that, I understand why, but I'm definitely 100% backing him up with a super solid, safer option in the second round. The upside is there. It's huge. We've seen it before. We love it. It's just there's a little bit more risk here this year than maybe there was last year, so I got him dropped down a few spots. Still right there, though, inside the top 12 at number 11. Number 12, Miles Sanders, Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we're kind of paying attention to Miles Sanders, right? What is the injury concerns for one Miles Sanders? He hasn't been practicing. more precautionary. We're being told that he should be ready to go week 1, but we haven't really seen it, right? He's not really on the field, so I had to drop him down a few spots. I think I had him as high as number 8 here this offseason. I love the potential of Miles Sanders, right? Didn't bring anybody in the draft, didn't bring any free agents. We talked about Carlos Hyde at one point, Devonta Freeman at one point. None of those guys have come in, right? Hyde went to Seattle, Freeman's still sitting at home on the couch. They're going to be committed to Miles Sanders, and I think if I'm reading everything correctly, if they were really concerned about this backfield injury to Miles Sanders, they would have brought in somebody else in by now. The fact that we're a week away from the season and they haven't shows me that they're going to stay committed and that he should be healthy enough to go week 1. I don't think they want to start the season relying on Boston Scott or Corey Clement. I mean, Miles Sanders is the guy in Philadelphia. We just have to kind of temper expectations a little bit. That's why I still kept him in the running back 1 category right there at number 12. Number 13 is Todd Gurley, Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people want to argue against Todd Gurley and the arthritis in the knees. I get it. It's not going away. It doesn't get healed. Trust me. I understand. But look at last year on tape. He didn't look slow. He didn't look hampered by the arthritis. Sure, it could flare up at any given time. However, a 1-year deal going back to Atlanta in Georgia where he played college football on kind of a show-me deal in an offense that's going to have to put up points. I like Todd Gurley this year, and I love it where you can get him because a lot of people are starting to get him in the 3rd round of their drafts. Todd Gurley, as a weekly flex play, has minimal risk, right? Yeah, he may not make it all year long if you want to really be a downer on the arthritis, but he's your number 3. He's not your number 1. He's not your number 2. But the potential upside of a Todd Gurley, if he goes out there and is healthy, maybe he isn't the number 1 overall fantasy running back. But what if he's still top 10 and he's your flex play? I love me some Todd Gurley. Got him at 13, even though you're getting him a lot cheaper on draft day. Number 14, this is where I put CEH. Now, a lot of people want to throw him right up in there, right after Saquon and Zeke and Christian McCaffrey. Can't do it. A lot of people said, oh, Jake, you're really going to eat your words on this one. Why? Because I really don't want to trust a rookie in a year where we had no rookie camp, an abbreviated training camp, no preseason games, and his first NFL touches week 1. I would just rather take one of these proven guys ahead of him. I'm not saying he can't produce. If you can get CEH as your number 2 running back, I love it. If he's your number 1, it really worries me because it's a lot of chips in one basket that you haven't seen play in the NFL before. Now go ahead and throw out the stats if you want to of what the running backs do in a Kansas City offense with Andy Reid. I get it. Trust me, I get it. And if this was any other year, a normal year, I'm buying him wholeheartedly. But right now, things are just a little bit different. I'm going to play it a little bit safer in the early rounds. So I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire at number 14. Number 15 is Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers. And yeah, I've moved him down a little bit in the rankings here, basically throughout the entire offseason. I'm not overly excited to buy Aaron Jones. I would prefer it to be like a late 2nd round pick, and then maybe I'll take a stab at it. But there's going to be regression coming, right? He was super efficient last year, scored a bunch of touchdowns. Can't assume he's going to get all those again, and now they've brought in A.J. Dillon. He could take away a few of those touchdowns, and without the touchdowns, he kind of just loses some of that value. He's going to be forced to be super efficient, and still none of us really know what the game plan is in Green Bay. How are they going to utilize that backfield now? Yeah, I'm not saying that A.J. Dillon's going to go out there and outscore Aaron Jones. Not by no means is that going to happen. But there's just question marks, right? Does Aaron Rodgers come out, try to give the organization the big FU and just throw the ball all over the field? That's a possibility too. I mean, there's a few question marks, a few reasons why I'm off Aaron Jones. I did a more detailed video on him. If you're interested, head over to the channel. I have him as a do not draft video this year. Number 16, Mark Ingram. And he continues to be disrespected on draft day. Everybody wants to point towards J.K. Dobbins, and J.K. Dobbins is the future. He is the future backfield of the Baltimore Ravens, and I absolutely love it. However, this is basically the last year of the deal for Mark Ingram in an offense which really features the run. They're going to run him into the ground, and as long as he can stay healthy, he's going to put up solid numbers just like he did last year. Now, yes, of course, he's getting a little bit older, but at the point you're getting him at drafts, once again, he's your flex play, and there's a lot less risk for the potential volume he could see. He doesn't need 300 carries in this offense to be a top fantasy back. In fact, last year, he had some of the fewest touches of all of the top 10 finishing backs, so he doesn't need 300. You get this guy 200, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised with Mark Ingram. Got him right here at 16. 17 is James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers, and he looks to be healthy. Big Ben looks to be healthy, and if that's the case in this offense, he's got value. The problem he also has is competition for touches in that backfield, and a huge injury concern does one James Conner, and That's why he's dropped down on a lot of people's boards. Now, similar to some of the other guys in the same area, the Mark Ingrams, the David Johnsons, it's the injury concerns, it's the inability to finish a season that really drops him down rankings for a lot of people. The talent is there, yet the opportunity is definitely there as long as Big Ben is healthy. If Big Ben is not, and he can't throw the ball down the field, that's going to draw defenses into the box and going to hurt James Conner some. So kind of tempering expectations right there still. Got him though at number 17. Number 18, just talked about David Johnson. Last time we saw him play, it looked like he was running in slow motion. However, everything this offseason looks like he's going to get a pretty decent opportunity in Houston. Now, Carlos Hyde was a 1,000-yard rusher in Houston last year, so that kind of, makes you at least believe that David Johnson can get 1,000 yards. Is he going to go out there and be 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving like everybody wanted to talk about for years? No, probably not. But he could definitely go out there and be somewhat inefficient, rack up 1,000 yards, 5 to 8 touchdowns, maybe 200 or 300 through the air. A solid season for David Johnson, and he's going to be your flex play. That's why we really like him here this year. Not so much saying he's going to be a top back, but where you draft him at, you're getting good value. Number 19, Melvin Gordon, another one of these vets, in a new situation, right? Going to Denver, struggling with the altitude a little bit. What type of time split is he going to see with Phillip Lindsay? The offense that also has Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant. There's other options in Denver. It's not just going to be solely Melvin Gordon. Now, he's going to have good weeks. He's going to have bad weeks. I have a feeling, though, he's going to be slightly touchdown dependent. A lot more risk with Melvin Gordon here in Denver than maybe we've seen in the past with him with the Chargers. So tempered expectations on him got him down at number 19. Number 20 is Chris Carson, and he's currently trending up. Now, he's come out and said he's 100% healthy, but everybody's going to say they're healthy. They're not going to come out and really say, oh, yeah, I'm hurting. The problem is he's coming off of a fractured hip, and running backs take a lot of wear and tear throughout the year, right? He's going to land on that hip. He's going to get hit in that hip. Can he hold up? Now, depending where he falls in your drafts or where you have him, maybe somebody's kind of devaluing him a little bit. If you can get him as your running back 3, that's amazing because Pete Carroll is indebted for life to Chris Carson for whatever reason it may be. If Chris Carson is healthy, he's going to touch the ball 20-plus times a game in Seattle. Is he healthy? It's kind of a question mark, right? Until we can see more full-speed drills, it's kind of hard to say. However, we do know once the games start, he's going to take a lot of contact in that hip. How does it hold up? It's a risk. That's why I got him at number 20, but like I said, he's trending up. 21 is going to be Devin Singletary, Buffalo Bills, and people still want to point to Zach Moss. Why? What is Zach Moss going to do that's really going to hurt Devin Singletary? I mean, Devin Singletary had to worry about Frank Gore last year. At worst, all we see is Moss come in and take the Gore touches. However, this team in Buffalo is a little bit better than they were last year. A great offensive line, a great defense, more second half leads, more leaning on the running game, more involvement for Devin Singletary, who is pretty efficient if you've taken a look at the numbers. I don't mind Devin Singletary at all as my number 3 running back here this year. I think the potential for him to finish inside the top 15 is definitely there. Got him back at 21, but the upside is huge if they can really dedicate maybe about 200 to 225 touches this year to him. Number 23, Jonathan Taylor. Yes, a rookie in an offseason which I named with Clyde Edwards-Helaire that I didn't like. However, you're getting Jonathan Taylor a lot later, and there's a lot less risk. You're not having to take this guy in the first round. If this was a normal offseason, maybe if no Marlon Mack was there, Jonathan Taylor would be a first-round pick. I mean, you got an elite talent behind arguably the best offensive line in football with a quarterback that can still throw the ball down the field despite what people think, and they have weapons on the outside. Jonathan Taylor is going to take the league by storm at some point. He may start off slow because they're going to start splitting with Marlon Mack, but slowly, week after week, Taylor's going to start distancing himself from the pack and really take over this backfield. He could be a potential league winner down the stretch. You just don't want to have to rely on him to start your season. Number 23, Le'Veon Bell. Not a huge fan of Le'Veon Bell. Actually, the only reason he's this high is because of the potential volume he could see. We're seeing reports that he could line up at receiver. However, we're also seeing him, take snaps in practice with the number 2 squad. There's just a lot of confusion with the Jets. What is really going on there? I mean, throughout this offseason, there's been questionable moves. They tried to trade for Kalen Ballage. Like, why? I mean, he is horrible. They brought in Frank Gore. There's just a bunch of confusion. Sam Darnold at times looked okay. I like Denzel Mims. Don't really love Adam Gase or an offense that Adam Gase touches. So, yeah, I basically dropped Bell out of the point to where he'd be available for me to draft. So I got Bell at 23. 24 is probably a name that you guys have been looking at for a while now, waiting for me to get to. And I really hate to even talk about it, but it's Ronald Jones, hashtag say no to Rojo, at 24. As of right now, he's the number 1 running back in that backfield. I still believe that the likes of Shady McCoy, Keyshawn Vaughn, maybe not quite so much, Dare Ogunbowale, he's going to get touches in this offense. I'm not sold that Ronald Jones at some point does not screw this up. I mean, you've seen him in practice dropping passes, Brady being, upset. Does he miss a blitz pickup and Tom Brady gets absolutely leveled? Bruce Arians isn't going to put up with that crap. They have other options. They have other vets. Heck, they're still being, mentioned in the likes of the Leonard Fournette deal. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could happen in Tampa Bay. I don't love Ronald Jones, but as of today, the volume could be there for him to put up some solid numbers, so I got him at the very back half of the RB2 section at running back 24. 25, Raheem Mostert, San Francisco 49ers. Now, yeah, he's got Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon coming back. Don't know how much I'm really worried about Jerick McKinnon, but Raheem Mostert should see right around 180 to 220 touches in this backfield. A backfield that has produced some solid fantasy games for a lot of people last year. Raheem Mostert isn't one of the guys that needs huge volume. He's capable of the big play, being efficient. The touchdowns, they may come and go, right? They may not always be there, but if this guy, at worst is probably your running back, at best probably your running back 3, at worst your running back 4, I love it for the depth purposes because you have the number 1 running back on a team that is going to run the ball a lot. And at that point in the draft, you can't really go wrong. So I got Raheem Mostert right here, 25. All right, so those are my top 25 running backs here for 2020 fantasy football. Like I said, week 1 is right around the corner, though. So the rankings are going to change, right? Because now we start looking at individual matchups on a week-by-week basis. Starting next week, or when the season starts, we're going to start releasing rankings videos towards the end of the week for each individual position for that actual week, given their matchup. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. If you love this type of information, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor, hit the like button also, because it definitely helps us out here on YouTube. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section. We will try to get to as many of them as we possibly can. If you really want to have your fantasy football questions answered, there's one guaranteed way to do it. You sign up on Patreon for at least the Pro or MVP tier, and you're guaranteed answers to all of your fantasy football questions. That's the only way we can guarantee it. There's just so many comments on every video. We can't get to every one of them. So if you're looking for those guaranteed answers, that's where you need to go. But we greatly appreciate the support. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later.